I'm Davina Katulski. I want to welcome you to my channel. I'm an author, life coach, spiritual practitioner, and psychologist. And everything I talk about on this channel has something to do with one of those things, either spirituality, self-help, personal growth, um, well-being. We are in Mercury retrograde, and I don't know if you're feeling it, but it's certainly an interesting time when communication can be hampered. Technology doesn't work as well, and it can be hard to have clarity. It's also a time of like going back and revisiting things that need to be revisited. So it's a time to clean. It's a time to repair. It's a time to do things to kind of go back and fix things that are unresolved or address things that, haven't gotten resolved. So it's a really good time for that. It's a good time to back up things. It's not the best time to make huge, big, and new purchases. Yeah. So here we are in Mercury retrograde. We're kind of at an interesting point in the world where there's just a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability going on. A lot of tearing down. I keep seeing like in my head that the notion of the Tower card in Tarot, where just everything is kind of falling apart. And I know from a personal place that when everything falls apart, when there's lots of chaos and uncertainty, that it's an important time to go within. It's a time to meditate. It's a time to become still, to get quiet. It's a time to kind of reflect and wait for inner guidance. So it might feel like, we want to go out and do lots of different things and force stuff to happen. But it's also a time to really go within and to listen more deeply to our higher selves, what's being called forth. Um, And again, when there's lots of uncertainty and chaos and you're not feeling well, it's not the best time to um, create. It's not the best place to create from. Let's just say that. Whoever said, I know they say Einstein said it, but I don't know who actually said it. But, whoever said like the solution never comes at the same level of the problem. That's wise, right? It's like we have to get into a different vibration to find the solution. We can't just, come from the place of the problem. So, what does that mean? What does that mean for all of us? I think that it again, it means slowing down. It means listening to our inner guidance. It means meditating. It means turning away from the problem, right? And working to elevate ourselves to create a higher frequency within. And for me, that's love and joy, right? Like tuning into love. Um, we know that hate and fear are lower vibrational energies. If you've ever read any David Hawkins, um, uh, Letting Go and Power versus Force, he talks about the energies of different things. And like love, the love frequency is a higher vibrational frequency. And we're in a moment where there's a lot of hate, a lot of enmity, um, a lot of discord, a lot of um, hate, fear, and kind of we know from a spiritual place that you can either have love or you can have fear, but you can't have both simultaneously. And so I invite you to think about where you're hanging out. You know, are you hanging out in fear? Are you hanging out in love? And it's okay if you're in fear. I go into fear at different times. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to be aware of. But when we go into fear, we lower our vibration and we also make ourselves more susceptible to harm. A couple things that have been kind of standing out for me and I've had to pay attention to in myself are, when we're watching things implode, um, and things look a certain way, we tend to want to prove a point. Let me start with that. So I know like watching a lot of stuff happen with planes. There's this like chaos around planes, for example, and there might be this energy of proving a point of like, and sort of not realizing that you might be contributing to this energy of wanting planes to crash to prove a point. Please don't do that. Right? Let's not prove a point by hoping that more planes crash. Let's not put energy into that, if that makes sense. Let's put energy into, again, solving problems, looking for solutions, and uh, putting our energy towards people waking up, towards people taking responsibility, towards people being fierce and protective and energized from a place of love, from a place of caring, and let's not energize the field of wanting more planes to crash. So that's kind of one example. And if you don't relate to that at all and don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay too. But I think some of you do know what I'm talking about. What was the other thing? Oh, the other thing was okay. So, I have traveled through Europe. I have seen Holocaust sites. I've been to many, many, many Holocaust sites. I've studied the Holocaust. I know how it happened. Yeah, the laws were changed and things were done legally to take away people's rights. From the 6 million Jewish people that were killed to the LGBT people that were killed, people with disabilities, political folks, even Catholic priests, like people that stood up and spoke out against the authoritarianism, the fascism of the Nazis. That people died, and it was brutal. And I know that there's a sense of, for many people, that uh, this feels like 1938, and it might feel like that because, there's a knowing that a certain person might be reading the playbook and wanting to exercise that kind of power, you know, and then there's the people who say, no, no, that's not what's happening. So whether it's happening or not, every time we energize the field by saying and imagining the things that happened in 1938, Nazi Germany, we are lending energy to that field. And I don't think we want to do that from a spiritual place. I don't think that's where we want to go. I th- and again, I understand the tendency. I have to watch it in myself because I'm awake and aware. I can see how trends start, if you will. And I don't mean to talk about this lightly. It's very serious, but I also understand the spiritual or the metaphysical aspects of it, which might sound kooky to some folks, and that's fine. This isn't for everybody, but for the folks that it is for, um, we need to step away from energizing that field, and we don't want to repeat the past by envisioning it ahead of time. So we need to envision something different. All right. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So instead of going through the motions in your head of envisioning everything turning out like it did, envision something different happening, something positive. Envision people waking up. Envision these things being stopped, not replicated. So that's what we have to envision. We have to envision a different story this time. And again, for some folks, this might seem like, what the heck is Davina talking about? And that's okay. That's okay. But for those of you who do understand that this is like, shining a light in your head, we have got to not imagine our LGBTQ brothers and sisters going off to camps. Okay? Does that make sense? That's not going to help us if we envision that. We need to envision something different, not just replicate that. We need to envision something different than our, Jewish neighbors going off to camps. All right, that's not going to help you. And again, proving a point, like, see, we don't want to prove this point. This is not a point we want to make. So we can say things like, all of those things are there for that kind of recipe, but that's not what's going to happen because we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to envision something different. We're not going to energize that kind of past reality. And we've got to do that. We've got to step up. That's very important. And we do that from love. We do that from love, not closing our eyes, not turning away, but love. We've got to be that field, that loving field. So, how do we do that? We meditate, we connect, right? We raise our vibration. We stay in that field of joy, and we don't. We was it Greg Braden, I think, talks about how when we keep lowering our vibration, more bad things can happen. So we need to lift our vibration up so more good things can happen. So this is how we have this personal power and agency. We keep lifting up our vibration. And it can be hard, right? You watch the news, you feel angry, you're upset, you want to scream, yell, whatever it is. Um, totally understand. Totally understand it. But that's not going to be our solution. I think, look to raising your vibration. Listen to how important it is to raise your vibration. And you're not going to just hear that from me, you're going to hear that from other people. This isn't being Pollyanna, this isn't spiritual bypass. It's recognizing what's there, and then it's doing your part to create a higher frequency on the planet so that we can move in a better, more positive direction. Okay, we're all energy, we all impact each other. So if have bad energy and you walk into a room and you slam a door, it will impact everyone around you. All right. Going to bring the vibration down. Or we can be that magnetic field of love and light and lift our vibration, and we can shift things on the planet. Um, I know that might sound super woo-woo to a lot of people, and there you go. But it's what happens. So this is my encouragement to you. This is what we have control over. We have control over this, right? In cognitive behavioral therapy, we talk about our thoughts and how your thoughts can impact how you respond and perceive the world around you. In metaphysics, we talk about thoughts are things. Our thoughts create our reality, right? Our consciousness creates our reality. So, what kind of consciousness are we holding in our minds? And what kind of reality are we creating from that? So, we have a chance to create something. So, are things shifting and changing around us? Absolutely. Is there tons and tons of uncertainty? Yes, there is. And what we can know is that even when things are torn down, we have an opportunity to rebuild. We may not like that they're being torn down. We may not like the change that's happening, but we have an ability to build things back, to change things, to create better. Um, I moved into a house that had a beautiful, beautiful deck in the house that I bought, and it was completely rotted. And it didn't look like it was rotted, but it was. It had to come down. The whole thing had to come down. And I was very upset that it had to come down, but it did. It just had to come down. And then the person that I hired to build it uh, decided to go off the deep end and did a bunch of things wrong, ripped off some money, blah, blah, blah. And it was, you know, it sucked. It totally sucked. But after he was out of the way and after the whole thing had been torn out, then there was an opportunity to create something new, to create something with a new vision that worked better for what I wanted to create in my backyard, for example. So that's just an example of something that, sometimes things need to be torn down. Sometimes the person that tries to build it back does a horrible job and is, a thief and does things terribly. And then you clear the space and you build it back. So it takes time, takes energy, sometimes it's frustrating, it's costly, but it can be done. And so whatever those changes are, whatever it is we don't like, there's a lot of things. You might not like this, you might not like that, you might be on this side or that side. But I'm saying here, don't choose sides, choose love. Okay, choose love, because sides, separation, that's not spiritual. That's not moving us in any kind of healthy direction. But love will, understanding will. let's move in from a place of love. Okay. Let's move from a place of love. If you're caught up in hate on either quote unquote side, that's not God. That's not divine, right? That's not healthy. You're just caught up in hate. Whether you're hating this or you're hating that because you think you're righteous for whatever reason, hate's not the answer. So, it's that lower form. We don't want to be in that energy. We want to be in the energy of love. So, however, you may, oh, the love is naive. Okay, but love is real, and love creates change. And when we love and we cooperate, that's a better world to live in. You know, that's a better world to live in. The other option is war, and war is not, as everyone says, and everyone's been through war. No one wins in war. Nobody wins in war. So, love, cooperation. Let's do it. Let's get it right. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being in my channel. If you like this, please like and subscribe. I have other videos that are less preachy, if you will. I've got videos on specifically how to raise your vibration. I've got videos on how to enhance your prosperity. I have videos on how to deal with stress and relaxation, how to deal with shame, how to deal with ancestral patterns of healing. There's all kinds of stuff on this channel. So figure out what speaks to you. And again, not every video is going to speak to you. That's okay. I just have to speak my truth, speak from my heart, and share what I feel called to share. And I feel very grateful for this opportunity to do that. And again, for those of you that this resonates with, this was for you today. Thank you. And please share with anyone else that you feel could benefit. And again, let's shine our lights. Let's be the love that we were meant to be here. Let's remember we are the family of light. All right. Blessings to you.